Hello everyone, and welcome to our new video regarding the latest PC-3000 software update. My name is Roman, and today me and my colleague Sergey will tell you some new features regarding the PC-3000 7.8 software update that will appear in your update boxes in the nearest time. Actually, this update will include most of the features that we already showed during the Dubrovnik conference. And of course, in my opinion, these features could be very useful for your daily practice because this update will bring you some cool features about hard disk drive recovery, and of course, it will bring a lot of new for SSDs, including the drives with the native USB interface. At this moment, I'm going to pass my word to Sergey. He will continue with hard disk drive part, and right after that, we're going to talk about the SSDs. So let's get started.
Hello everyone, Sergey is here, and today we want to speak about new things, options and features in our recent update 7.8. So what interesting we have already prepared for you? A lot of, and as usually we like to start from HDD part, and the first utility I want to speak about will be Western Digital. So I will use this drive just like an example. It's Western Digital Palmer. So let's see what we have inside. I'm sharing my screen with you and starting PC-3000 software, port number 0, and let's begin. Power on the drive and starting the Western Digital Marvel utility. Drive is in good conditions, it's not damaged, it's used just an example. And the first small improvement which I want to show you is about size of the windows. In many menus and many regimes it was a little bit inconvenient to work because of different size, small size for example. Right now it's possible to change this size, and utility will remember your changes for the next start. For example, if I want to use big window like here to be able see the date of creation of my profiles, date of latest update, some other details, I can use this size of this resources backup window. For example, right now, just in case if I close utility and started from the beginning, you will see that my preferred changes will be saved. It's very convenient to work. Right now I'm creating the profile folder for my drive. What I want to show you. First thing we will speak about that right now our developers seriously redesigned and changed the option which was called regions editor, and right now the name is flash dir editor. Yeah, when you put it here you can see that it's possible it's possible to do a lot of things here. As you see, for example, on this drive it's possible to use several regions. It's possible to include, exclude region. It's even possible to change the information about module 01 modules directory. For example, if it was reallocated somewhere, you can select the new address for this module exactly from this window. It's a very good thing. Also, pay attention that right now there is ability to block module 01. Probably you have already seen that when you try to block service area access, shifting the regions as we usually did before, you may see this window warning message about that it's possible to damage module 01. Actually, it's because in the past we really have some cases when module 01 was damaged because of shifting the region. So right now, to avoid this situation, you may use different option, which is named block module 01. It's used for the cases when exactly you need to perform diagnostic of the service area. That's why before you may want to try to block service area access, and right now of course utility have performed backup of the original ROM. So if your drive behavior was unstable, if it was freezed, or maybe if it was restarted, it's possible to use in this way right now if you have ability to use the loader, for example, from this drive from previously taken backup. For example, right now it's possible. As you see, drive is started without ID. It's because of used block, but it's stable and it will not harm anything in the service area. If you want to revert the changes, you need to write the ROM back. Like this. And after restart, you will be able to get the normal workable drive. Yeah. What else? What else? Sometimes when we doing the diagnostic on the drive, we need to perform power up log. Yeah, you remember there is a power up log which may give you information about some issues which happened with the drive from the start during the initialization, and these messages may give you understanding what's going on with the drive. But there are some specific states, especially on SMR drives, which drives go to the special debug stop. Yeah, and in this case, in utility, you usually see debug stop code and some code. And unfortunately, in such situation, power up log is useless, so you cannot understand why exactly this situation happened. That's why our developers add the special logs, which are called DBS debug stop code log report. Actually, this report you can enable or disable through the options. Pay attention, I go to the tools options and select Western Digital Marvel. Here I go to the other settings, and here there is such log which called make host debug stop log report. Yeah, by default it will be enabled. I'm just showing how it's possible to switch on or switch off this mode. So if your drive is going to the debug mode, you will be able to at least understand what is going on with it. It will looks like this. I'm going to the service area and I'm showing this log report on the good drive. Yeah, on the good drive it will looks like this. Yeah, but of course if you have some problems in the utility, in the starting log, you will see additional error messages which may give you understanding that, for example, second level translator is damaged on this drive. What else? What else? I want to show you additional thing which was seriously improved. It's called module 03 recovery. You remember module 03 is zone allocation table. So previously, in case of zone allocation table, you were able to select automatical mode of recovery or manual mode. Manual mode right now is removed from the PC-3000 software because it's very complicated and sometimes the results are not very good. So right now we have new method of recovery which is usable for many drives, because previously on some of them, on most modern drives, when you try to perform recovery of zone allocation table, you got their error messages. Right now, for example, if you want to try, it's possible to do it and to get the correct module, because module 03 is related to the A group modules, and it means that this module is unique and cannot be taken from donor drive. But in case, for example, if module is completely damaged, to be able to start this kind of recovery, it's really possible to write the donor zone allocation table, module 03 from donor drive, similar firmware version and similar model, start this recovery mode, and you will get ability to recover original module, from the different parts of the service area, which are also located on the drive. That's how it works. And of course, that's not all. As usually, we have some improvements for T2 recovery and using T2 for heads map creation, for other tasks. And there are some changes, of course, which you cannot see, you cannot touch, but actually they persist. So this mod, of course, also was improved. Yeah. The next drive, the next brand which I want to speak about, of course, will be Seagate's. What's new we have for Seagate drive? I also will use the Rosewood drive, just an example, but I want to show you what's new we have inside Seagate F3 Utility. So I power on the drive. Also, drive is in good condition. It's used just an example for you. What interesting we have? Of course, right now on the market there are a lot of modern Seagate drives, high capacity, which we trying to add to the support list. And as you know, all of them are locked right now, and the unlocking procedure which we should start from working with the drive always different for different families. So right now our developers have added the unlock for the different drives from D group. It's like D3, D4, D6, D3, D6, D7, and D8. And to be able unlock these drives, pay attention that we have right now 4 type of patches, but most of patches, as you know, usually related to the patch number 1. So for these drives also, the unlock was added to the patch number 1, patch number 4, which is new. Here it's related to the Makara drives. So if you are not familiar with patching on your drive, don't worry, just contact us and we will help you to select correct patch for your drive. What's important to understand, despite of the ability to patch these new drives, they are a little bit different with other. That's why right now families of the drive is still not added to this current version of the PC-3000, but in nearest future, of course, we will add them. So right now, if you need to work, you may select the common architecture, because working through the ATA, direct ATA, and direct mode with this drive is a little bit different. So by terminal, you still you will be able to perform some actions with the drive. For the ATA commands, for the ATA solutions, it's maybe a little bit different. So I ask you to be careful. And what else? What else? The interesting option which is available right now will be related to the reading the translator and the reading the media cache from the RAM. Pay attention. I'm going to the RAM options, and right now you can read translator, you can read media cache management table from the RAM when it's necessary to use. For example, your drive is in bad conditions, it has weak heads, it has some problems with the service area, and you never can predict if it's possible to perform backup, if it's possible to work with the service area or not. But drive, fortunately, was able to start. That's why you can try to save the translator, and you can save the media cache management table from the RAM, which is currently used. Yeah, so next time, for example, it will be possible to upload these files to the RAM from the files, and to get user area access. For example, if it's not possible to fix service area or something like that. Also, on the right panel right now, there are some additional options which were added. It's spin, did spin down, that spin down, spin up. It's some different classes of techno command to spin up and spin down the drive, which use different pairs of overlays. But most important to us to pay attention on the option which is called stop intercommand activity. It's like stopping the backgrounds. You know that there are a lot of cases when your drive may do some reallocations, etc., etc. So this command may be useful for you for such cases, because it's used in the RAM until the repowering of the drive. You can put this button, stop intercommand activity, and it may help to get the better state, the better behavior of the drive. Yeah, that's for Seagate. And the last example, which will be related to the, yes, of course it will be related to the HGST CCB architecture. So remember that for this drive you always need to use the special CCB adapter if you work with Portable 3 or Portable Pro. So right now I'm connecting this adapter to my Portable Pro, and after that I'm plugging the drive to the adapter. So right now I need to restart the software. Also for this kind of drives, we recommend to increase the timeout, because this drive needs more time for initialization and to get in ready state. what I want to say at first. Of course, we have new families added, which are called Vela A, Vela AP, Vela AX, which added to the new version. Possible to work with them right now. Also, auto detection mode has been improved. It means that right now the selection of the new version is running by VVN code of the drive. It's much better than using the model name, because as you know, for this group of drives, there are a lot of different drives: Western Digital label, HGST label, a lot of combinations, and that's why sometimes it's complicated to understand which family drive belongs to, and of course depends on it. It's possible to do the mistake. I mean that you may select the wrong family and different options will be used for this drive. Right now it works better. So what I want to tell you about CCB, except adding the new families, of course, we have some interesting. So I'm going to the module table, and sorry, what I want to say that right now it's possible to read in modules with error ignore. Just give me ability to find it. This one. You can read the module with ignore reading error. What does it mean? If there is some bad sectors inside one or several modules, you know that on other utilities you can ignore these errors and read the good part of the module, then try to perform some manual fixes and use this module. Right now it's also possible to read the modules with ignore reading error and continue work with it. Also, additional mode for checking was added. It's called service area auto check. It's done by special command which checks the sectors of the module and giving some information about it. So for example, on this drive, when I start this kind of checking, it right now trying to check modules one by one to find the bad sectors inside, and if it finds this information, it will put this information into the report. But one thing which is not really convenient, that if, for example, the whole module is damaged and there are a lot of sectors, which I mean the module is a big size, that's why there is a special limit on this kind of check, and usually it will give you information not about all modules, but finding the first bad module will be only reproduced in this kind of report. But you still able to start structure test, for example, or use this kind of checking to perform full checking of the service area. Also, for CCB drives, on the right side of the panel, there are some additional buttons which can be useful. For example, test unit ready is like a testing of the control processor. It's like a SCSI command. Also, what's most important here, I suppose, it's get sense. It's get to get last sense code, which describes the information about the current state of the drive after the last command. After the last command, what's going on with the drive. For example, right now this drive is in good conditions, that's why everything is okay. Sense code is okay, but For example, if your drive is not able to initialize, to understand the reason, you may use this button to understand the sense count of the last performed process, last performed command to the drive. Also, there is ability to get information about the firmware, about the work, about the conditions of the drive using the inquire P3 here. Yeah. So actually, that's what I wanted to tell you today about the new updates, new features in 7.8 version, but of course that's not all. That's not all, it's just a part of them. To get full information about changelog, of course, follow the news and contact us if you have any issues. We will be glad to help you. So, thank you very much and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sergey. And now it's time to talk about the new features in PC-3000 SSD. I'm going to talk about the new controllers and new drive families in 7.8 software update. And right now, let me share my screen. So I'm going to show you what's new we got in interface and in controller support. And first of all, we are going to start from the NVMe drives. And of course, as I mentioned before, the new version includes some new controllers, and one of them is based on hosting global technology. Actually, these drives are pretty popular because these controllers are pretty cheap. They are based on physical modification of Phison 5013, but in general, it contains internal microcode, absolutely modified by hosting global engineers. And unfortunately, before it was not possible to use the loaders from PS5013 family in hosting global modification of SSDs. But right now we got the new utility and we can work with these drives too. Also, our developers add some other controllers and some other features, like for example the new loaders for existing controllers. And if it was not possible for you to solve a few cases before based on already supported controllers, like for example Phison PS5021, I strongly recommend you to install the new update and check previous cases with the new version. I'm sure that the new version will provide you a huge boost in support of different type of memory chips and internal drive firmwares. So again, new loaders are available and you can try to use previous controller as well. But at this moment, let me show you a few things about the hosting global modification of PS controller. I've got a drive here. This drive is based on Patriot technology, and this drive contains 256 gigabyte capacity. And again, you can see that the controller inside is a RAM-less controller. There is no any buffer chip like extended RAM chip. There is just a controller unit and NAND memory chip, that's all. So let's connect this SSD to PC-3000 and launch the power supply to see how the drive will be detectable in Universal Utility. And actually here we can see that after we launch the power supply, drive goes in ready state, but instead of a real passport, we got the safe mode passport details. It means that this SSD contains a serious firmware corruption, which leads to impossibility for SSD complete the initialization process and build the translator and reach access to user data. But again, for us it's not a problem because now we can try to use the new utility for hosting global HG controller. And let's start our utility. So for now we are trying to load the loader. By the way, you can see that this SSD is based on the latest models of Unix memory chips. Actually, it's 3DV7 generation, which is pretty new. And these chips are already supported in current utility. So let's wait until the initialization of utility will not be completed. And after that, it will be possible to build the translator and try to access the user data. Okay, and right now let's try to build the new translator. I'm going to start the translator, create, follow the drive profile, read the information about the drive. You can see that the complete passport ID information could be read from the internal firmware of connected SSD. And when the process will be over, it will be possible to continue with the Data Extractor. Everything is fine, and this translator becomes saved into the profile folder. So we can follow by Data Extractor and as usually check what's going on with the data inside this drive. And we can see that right now the complete drive name become read correctly with the serial number. Capacity is 256 gigabyte. So let's make a new task and see the data partition. And again, it's the same as before. And again, please don't forget that these controllers, as well as all Phison, as well as all Silicon Motion and supported modification of Maxio MAS controller, they have a possibility to work with deleted data, with formatted partition, and for correct data recovery after formatting, don't forget to use the PBA reading, then virtual drive adding, and file system scanning after that. In this case, it will be possible to roll back the translator versions, the file versions, and find the data which was suddenly deleted from the SSD and hide by trim command in SSD. And another interesting things which appear in the new version of PC-3000 software update is the new native USB controllers supported in PC-3000 Portable Pro and Portable 3, of course. Using the USB host port, we can reach access to the internal controller of connected drive natively without any bridges, without any additional connectors or adapters, and it's pretty interesting. So what we can see in our new list of native USB controllers. First of all, of course, and this is the main thing, our developers add the Phison controllers into support list. Actually, we show these controllers during the Dubrovnik Tech Week conference in 2025, and at this moment we support two modifications of Phison 2251. It's U17 and U18 controller. There could be different implementation of these SSDs because one of them could have just a common USB port and could be connected directly to the USB host port, and another type could be based on Type-C connector, so you will need a special adapter which convert Type-C to Type-A connector, but in general there is no any problem at all when you are dealing with these drives. But of course, it's not all, because ASLab developers finally add some of the SATA and NVMe drives with USB Type-C interface and Type-A interface, which contains a NVMe to USB bridges and SATA to USB bridges. It's very important because previously when we faced with the drives like transient based on Silicon Motion, or when we're faced with one of these SM2258XT or 59XT, we have to cut the traces between the controller and the USB bridge on the board, solder SATA lines, and after that it becomes possible to communicate with the controller using the internal utility for SATA. But at this moment it becomes possible to use the native USB connector without any third-party modifications, and the only thing you need to do just to connect such drive to USB host port, send technological mode, and reach access via the utility. And of course all these utilities will show you the correct pictures of safe mode location, of USB bridges, and so on. And previous it was pretty tough task to read the cases like, for example, this Hewlett-Packard based SSD, which was based on 2263 XT controller, because again previously we have to use some specific adaptation, which is using the M.2 connector, soldered lines of PCI Express to the USB bridge, and after that it became possible to connect such highly modified SSD to PC-3000. But right now things become much more simpler and you can work directly via the USB port. But right now let me show you what we can do with the Phison 2251U17 controller. And again, these new SSDs with the native USB interface, they don't have any bridges at the board and they have only controller and non-memory chip. And again, these SSDs are pretty cheap. You can buy modification for 256 gigabyte for maybe 30 euro, and it's really cheap. We need to plug the drive to USB host port. And in the beginning, as always, we recommend to use Universal USB Utility to find out what the drive will show us in passport ID. So right now we are trying to initialize the drive, and you can see that instead of a complete passport ID, drive show us 5017 model name and zero capacity. And again, this is a typical situation for such cheap SSDs based on sometimes QLC memory chip, where we are not able to proceed with the drive initialization. So let's get back to the utility and we can use SSD vendor, or I prefer to use the controller. So our controller here is Phison 225117. So I can launch the utility, I can initialize it, and after that we can try to load the loader for this SSD. Actually, as always for NVMe SSD or SATA or USB solid state drive, the initialization step are usually the same. So we load the loader, we short the drive into safe mode if it required, and after that we rebuild the translator. Chips here are Kioxia or Toshiba, based on BICS 5 memory chip generation. And again, we always recommend to check the memory chip ID test to find out do we have any problem with the hardware part of the chip or not. But we know that our drive is 256 gigabyte and it contains 4 chip IDs split between 2 physical memory chips. And the total capacity of every chip ID will be around 70 gigabyte. So total capacity of the whole drive will be right about 256 gigabyte. So as always, we are starting the translator building process, and it will take some time before the translator will be ready and we will be able to continue. So let's make the new profile. And after that, let's let's build the translator. All right, so we can see here that translator also ready, and as always, we are going to Data Extractor to check the content on this USB flash SSD. Oops, let's make a new task. You can see again the full name, the LBA number, and let's make a new drive copy, new task copy. And again, result looks pretty promising because we got the main data partition. All partitions become opened with no any trouble. There is just actually one partition, but again, files are openable and we can see them all. And result is ready. And finally, we are going to talk about the new features in SATA SSDs. And again, new loaders been added into almost all existing controllers. So if previously it was not possible to work with some of the drive based on Phison or Silicon Motion Controller or Maxio, you are able to try with the new version, try to recover the same drive one more time, and I'm sure that the result will be better. Regarding the Maxio controller, I can say that ASLab developers are almost complete the Maxio support of MAS 0902 modification, and this controller is almost fully supported. In our blog, you can find the article which describes the initialization step for almost all existing Maxio-based SSDs. Our next controller 1102 is under developing and it will appear in support list a little bit later, so need to wait. But right now, if you got any Lexar based drive based on DM918 or MAS 0902 controller, it's not a problem for you. You can try to proceed using the steps described in the article. What's new we got here? Of course, one of the interesting features is a complete support of a new controller, which is 2259H. Previously, we support 2258H, which was popular in Crucial BX500, but this modification of Crucial BX500 also may be based on the next generation of controller SM2259H, and in the latest update of PC-3000 this controller is also supported. One of the main problem with this controller is a full hardware encryption. It means that when we recover the data from this drive, we could find the problem that all data is encrypted, and in log we will see a message that encryption key is required for this controller. And right now I'm going to show you how we can get it. So let's launch power supply and start the utility by controller. And we got here our CPU. So we trying to read the information about the memory chips. And this SSD is based on Micron chips B47R. And let's load the loader and see how the drive will be initialized. So we can see that passport ID become changed. We are able to read the information about the number of memory chip in this SSD. We can see that there are totally 8 chip IDs with 73 gigabyte each, which is approximately the same as 500 gigabyte capacity. And we can force the utility initialization, and for doing this, let's cancel the control page table loading. We don't need it right now. Our goal right now is to build the translator. So when I start the translator building, of course we need to choose the correct profile, but right after that, the translator building process will be started. and we can wait till the end of it. And again, we are creating the drive profile. We can read the internal model name of drive from the firmware. And now we can rest a bit because the translator building for this drive may take some time. But I hope that it will not take too much time, but anyway, let's wait. So it takes around 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a half to almost completely build the translator. And now when the process becomes over, you can see a message that this drive contains encryption. And again, this is a typical problem of modern Crucial BX500 models and some other modification of SSDs based on this controller, which are using the hardware encryption. And there is the only way to decrypt it. So in this case, you need to follow by tests, service information, and use the resources backup. This is the first thing that you need to do. When the resources backup will be over, you need to launch the service information and service blocks reading into your drive profile. Again, the complete SA backup plus service block will take maybe 2 GB of your space. And after that, when you save the service blocks and service area backup, you need to compress the complete folder of your drive profile and send it to ASLab technical support. Because unfortunately, the process of decryption key extraction is absolutely manual, and our developers have to spend some time to extract it for you. And again, this process is pretty fast because when you send resources to us, it takes maybe 1 or 2 days from our developers to help you extract the key. After that, technical support engineer who working with your case will send you a key file that you need to upload into PC-3000 during the Data Extractor task creation. But again, we're not going to save the resources right now because it will take time. Just overall steps that you need to do. Save the backup and save the service blocks. This is what you need to save. After that, compress the drive profile folder, send it to ASLab, and we will send you back the key. When ASLab developers will send you a key, it's going to be a pretty small file, which have a size around 1 kilobyte or something like that. It's pretty small, pretty light. You will need to follow by Data Extractor right now, make a new task, and during the task creation, when you will see the window of reading parameters, you will need to follow by encryption and choose the encryption key which becomes saved on our desktop. Here it is. And after that, we can make a new task as usually, choose our drive as a source, and after that, we will see our decrypted data. Because again, as I mentioned before, without this encryption key, all data become encrypted. And let me show you the files here after decryption. So partition is going to be opened here. Everything looks pretty fine. We can open the whole structure of this drive and everything looks pretty fine. But if I will remove from the reading parameters decryption checkbox, and after that I will try to read this SSD without the encryption key, you can see that actually I put Ctrl R, refresh. You can see that master boot record turns into the garbage. So data is not readable anymore because of encryption. And after that, of course, you will lose all data and you will not be able to access it until you will not get the key. So again, in case of any questions or any troubles with similar drives, just send to us all required resources and we will guide you shortly without any troubles with the key extraction. Some other controllers are using encryption too. At this moment, Phison controllers doesn't use encryption, but SM does. And it depends on the model, it depends on the drive modification. But if you see the message that this drive is encrypted, please contact technical support, you know what to do. Usually steps would be always the same. And the last thing that we are going to show you for today will be a very interesting and useful feature for unsupported SSDs. If your drive is not supported, if it's not included into the controller list, if there is no drive profile, but this drive isn't working, it stays in busy or show the bad ID, it's still possible to handle it, with it, because as you remember from the Tech Week 2025 conference, we already show you the solution with the heating machine, which allow us to uh, initialize the drive in case of the firmware corruption. Using the temperature adjustment, it become possible to find the best temperature to read the firmware, the default firmware of the SSD with the less number of bit errors, and finally bypass the busy state and finalize the drive initialization. Usually this trick works pretty good, of course not always, but in some cases it works very well. And right now we're going to show you special data extractor settings that will allow us to use them with maximal effectivity with your drive. So with maximal efficiency on your drive. And let's share the screen. Let me do that. We can see that after power on, the drive show us a lot of elite errors. It's not in busy, it's just not working. And we can launch Data Extractor. After that, we can make a new task based on not utility, but based on SATA1 port. We're going to select it. We're not going to read the drive ID because it's not readable. Drive located in a pretty bad condition. So let's press next. Here, let's make a copy. And of course, we need to type the number of LBA manually. In our case, we got the drive capacity. It's 120 gigabyte drive. Actually, this is AMD drive based on unsupported controller, but I would like you to show you a possible steps to recover it. So we got our capacity in gigabytes. Let's multiply it on 1024, then again 1024, and on 2. And we got the number of LBAs, which are equal to this capacity, which is equal to 120 gigabyte. Let's type it here and not here, like, okay, let's do it manually. 658, 658, and 240 will be 48. And now we still got a problem with the drive lead indicator. We can't read the drive ID because again of the drive corruption. But in Data Extractor, we got a pretty interesting menu which was not available for us before. Checking the drive after power on. It's some kind of a script which will reset the power supply and will ask you for some action. For example, if we would like to repower the drive until we don't read drive ID, we need to choose this option. So SSD will keep the repower in the drive until the drive ID will not be read. During this repowering, you can try to influence on the NAND memory chips using the hot air gun or freezing machine. Anyway, you can use any type of temperature influence. And sometimes, if we talk about the problem with the firmware corruption, it becomes possible to find the best temperature adjustment, which will help us to pass the initialization on this SSD, read the firmware area with the less number of bit errors, and finally get a very good result without specific utility, without anything. Usually, when you are using this temperature heating influence, be careful, because the best temperature could be not very high. Usually it's something between plus 60 degrees till 110, 120 maximum degree. And be careful, because sometimes drives start to read when it become cold down. Sometimes it start to read when the temperature is rising. So you need to find the best and optimal temperature for every single case. And again, right now, for example, I would like to read drive ID using the drive repowering, and I launch a read drive ID. And now let's set the timeout. Let's make it to be around 1000 milliseconds and press OK. So now every second our software will repower the drive, and during this time we can try to warm the SSD. We can try to use the hot air gun station or special heating machine if you have some, and drive will be repowered until the drive ID will not be read. And this process will take some time, but you are doing it. So it's keep trying, and again, when you will adjust the best temperature, probably you will find the best options when the ID would be read. And here it is, we successfully read the ID here, and if I will move to the universal utility, I would be able to read the ID correctly. Here it is. Or another option that we can try to follow the check-in parameters and choose, for example, special grep expression, like we would like to find master boot record on 0 LBA, and we can set it manually or select from the reference. And here is 55AA, our signature. We're going to select it, and again, after repower, we successfully find it. So again, drive is working now after some temperature influence, after some repowering cycles. And again, every case is individual, and you should pay more attention for very smart temperature parameters adjustments for every case that you have. Don't burn your SSD, because even if it's not supported, there is still a chance that it would be possible to recover it. Just a few words about the rest of the options. You can wait for non-zeros content on the LBA, or you can wait for zeros for specific LBA. Again, there could be in the future added more options, what we need to get after power on, so it will be probably more comfortable for you to choose some specific settings if you need. So if you want to add something here in this parameter window, you can ask technical support. So we will ask ASLab developers to add it. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's all for today. Please find us in technical support portal in case if you will get any questions about the recent PC-3000 update 7.8.